Is an end finally coming to anchor babies? It's January 22nd, 2025, and these are your headlines. You saw the executive order we talked about yesterday that President Trump signed on his first day of office, ending birthright citizenship. And now a Texas congressman has reintroduced legislation to block illegal aliens from taking advantage of birthright citizenship by having children on American soil. Now, the Birthright Citizenship Act, first filed by Representative Babin in 2023, and now refiled in 2025, would confer citizenship to children born in the U.S. only if at least one parent is a citizen, a lawfully present foreign national, or an immigrant serving in the military. Babin announced yesterday that he was reintroducing the legislation. Of course, shortly after being inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump issued an executive order clarifying the definition of birthright citizenship, stating the 14th Amendment has always excluded from birthright citizenship persons who were born in the United States, but, quote, not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. The order also states that the Secretary of State, Attorney General, Secretary of Homeland Security, and the Social Security Commission will be empowered to enforce the provisions of the order, which withholds birthright citizenship from children of illegal aliens in the U.S. The order was one of many that President Trump signed on his first day in office, aimed at securing the southern border and prioritizing lawful American citizens. Others, of course, included declaring a national emergency at the border, establishing a process for declaring cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and protecting America from the invasion. An effort by a Republican lawmaker to imprison the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas for urging Republican House members to support the Republican nominee for Speaker. Are you getting all this? Well, that's reportedly been thrown out now by the Texas Ethics Commission. The complaint, which was filed by Representative Cody Harris, a Republican, against Chairman Abraham George of the Texas GOP, generated a lot of backlash in the party, with many viewing it, of course, as an attempt to silence leadership for urging unity around a Republican candidate. The Texas GOP responded by calling the complaint baseless, a sentiment echoed by many grassroots conservatives. The party argued that supporting a Republican nominee is a fundamental aspect of advancing the party's platform and principles. In a statement after the complaint was originally filed, they said that the delegates of the 2024 Texas Republican Convention elected me to represent them, talking about Abraham George, which means bringing truth to the establishment power that impeached our duly elected Attorney General last legislative session. He went on to say that the delegates adopted our rules and legislative priorities, and he would continue to serve as a strong advocate for the party and rule of law. Well, according to a report by the left-wing Texas Tribune, the TEC dismissed the complaint on the grounds that it lacked jurisdiction. Now, speaking to the Tribune, which tells you a lot about what you need to know about him, Representative Cody Harris said he disagreed with the decision and said that he thinks they chose the politically expedient way out. Well, as of this morning, Abraham George told us that he hadn't received any communication or documentation yet from the TEC regarding the dismissal. Of course, the TEC itself has declined to comment on the case, usually doesn't discuss individual complaints. This controversy, of course, began when Representative Harris filed the complaint ahead of that contentious speaker race in the Texas House. Abraham George had publicly urged Republican lawmakers to back the party's nominee for Speaker, that was David Cook, rather than considering other candidates. Harris's complaint alleges that George's actions violated state ethics rules, a claim the Texas GOP has vigorously disputed. And get this, Representative Harris, well, he was among a minority of Republicans last week that joined with Democrats to thwart the Republican nominee and instead install State Representative Dustin Burrows as Speaker of the House.
What are the important things out there in Texas politics and Texas news that matter to you, and what can you do about it? That's what we want to bring you with the Luke Macias Show on a weekly basis for 20 to 30 minutes. That way you can get the information and go do something for the rest of your week. I look forward to coming to you every Wednesday.
A new measure proposed in the Texas Senate would establish a database for school district bonds, taxes, and bond-related projects. This is a godsend for a lot of folks who follow what's happening in their local school districts. It was filed by Senator Lois Kolkhorst, Senate Bill 843, would amend the state's education code to direct the Texas Education Agency to create a database that includes several critical points about bonds. The database would include the language of the ballot proposition, the projected interest and sinking, or INS, fund tax rate, proposed or issued maintenance and operations taxes, or M&O taxes, and a list of the projects to be funded using the bond, among other information. 80% of property taxes, 80%, are M&O taxes. These taxpayer dollars fund the day-to-day expenses of local governments and are set by school districts. If the district attempts to raise the M&O rate above what's allowed by law, voters must approve the hike in a voter approval tax rate election. And the remaining 20% of property taxes are collected through INS, which pays down local debt. COCOR's proposal requires the TEA to create reports for each school district disaggregated by geographical area with a function to accommodate updates or corrections to the information. School districts would be responsible for collecting and delivering information on their bond proposals to the TEA upon request. The agency is also permitted to contract with a third party to obtain this information. The proposal comes amid concerns from grassroots activists who say that current Texas bond elections are often missing information or incorporate disinformation. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.